This video discusses events within the game's story for educational and analytical purposes. Bad writing decisions in Resident Evil Village are not isolated to a select few cases. Much like a swarm of locusts plaguing a crop field, bad writing examples are found throughout multiple levels of analysis, from the global story arc all the way down to the individual scenes and encounters. Here we can take a look at a subsystem, a more local example of a small scene where the protagonist reaches Louisa's house, within which all the remaining villagers are all huddled up.
Come on, it's clear.
Hurry! Hurry!
Took your damn time. Oh, you're welcome.
He's not used to relying on other people. I'm sorry. We'll be safe in here, won't we?
Safer here than out there, that's for sure. Hey, do you know anything about what's going on around here?
It doesn't make any sense. Mother Miranda has always protected us.
Nobody's answer.
Father? We have to get inside.
Hello? Anybody home?
Maybe a familiar voice. Louisa! Open up! It's me, Elena!
Stop shouting. You'll draw the monsters.
Julian, calm down.
Who's this?
A friend!
Stay back.
Father! For God's sake, Julian, let us in.
No, they'll smell the blood. You'll endanger us all.
My father will die out here.
But that's not my problem.
What's going on?
These people want to let a dying man into our home.
Come now, these people are our friends. Go on, go inside. Come now, this way. You're not from this village.
No. I'm Ethan.
Julian, go make yourself useful and check the grounds. I said go! Well, if Elena trusts you, then so do I. Come inside, Ethan. Wait here. I'll check on the others. Come inside. The others are waiting.
The fuck is this? Outsiders, you're gonna get us all killed.
Quiet, Anton. He helped Leonardo and Elena.
We were doing fine by ourselves.
Please, Ethan, take a seat.
Is this all that's left? From your entire village?
All that's left. All that's left? There is no one left! A worthless invalid, a stupid, wailing bitch! And you drag a bloody man and an outsider in here like it's nothing? And expect to be all safe? There is no safe! Every sorry bastard out there has been ripped in half. But tomorrow? Tomorrow we'll all be dead. Just like her damn husband. Put a sock in it, Roxana!
That's enough! This house has protected my family for generations. And drunk or not, you are all welcome and safe in here.
Whatever.
Can someone please tell me what the hell is going on here?
We don't know. One day we were a quiet, devout village, and the next, the monsters came and attacked us. And they kept coming.
Wait, Louisa. Where is your husband? Did they?
No. No, he is out there. Somewhere. He went to get help. Yes, that's it. He went to fetch help. Let us pray. For him. For all of us. Good idea. Come. Gather. Great ones, hear our voice. Together as one in reverence, we call on thee within the endless dark to deliver us into fate's hands. As the midnight moon rises on black wings, so we make our sacrifice and await the light at the end. In life and in death, we give you glory, Mother Miranda. Now, the tea should be ready. Come help me, Elena, please.
That prayer, I've heard it before. There was an old woman near the graveyard.
You mean the hag? Dumb bitch is crazy as a bag of rats.
There is wisdom in her devotion, though. And I hope it protected her as it shall protect us.
What are you doing?
Leonardo, what's wrong? Are you okay?
Father!
Elena, no, stay back!
No, let me go!
We have to go!
Let him go!
Elena?
I said no! Oh my god. I'm so sorry, Father.
Hey, that wasn't your father anymore. You did the right thing. Elena, no! There's nothing you can do! Papa! This entire place is collapsing! You couldn't save him. He was already gone.
Leave me alone.
No, we're getting out of here. Together. I gotta get out of here. Let's move. Don't worry, and try not to breathe in the smoke.
I know. Thank you, Ethan. You're kind. I hope your family is safe.
I do too. Once we get out of here, maybe you'll get to meet them.
That'd be good.
Come on, it'll hold. There, that's our way out.
Thank God. But what then? The village is still full of monsters. We can't fight them, there's too many.
Hey, don't talk like that. We'll find a safe house to put you in until I can find my daughter. My hunch is she's in that old castle.
No. That place is full of nothing but blood and death. And I don't want to be alone while you're... Father?
Elena, no. That's not him. Not anymore.
He said my name! Father!
Wait, it's not safe! Stay there! Come on, give me your hand!
Ethan, go! Save your daughter!
Elena, don't give up! Reach for me! God damn it!
This particular scene, as well choreographed as it looks, serves very little purpose to the whole plot. The only marginally relevant information served in this entire sequence is the mention of the old hag reiterating the prayer heard at the table. Otherwise, the scene sprinkles some tidbits of information that serves little purpose, and then everyone dies. So, other than that, the scene is pretty much an artistic show-off. the writers had introduced a new set of characters, attempted to brighten up the palette by giving them different states of mind and personalities, and they still ended up being one-dimensional without the slightest of intentions of driving the plot forward. And considering how much time, effort, and man-hours had gone into producing this sequence alone, if you failed to have the characters drive the plot forward, then all you've achieved is waste a whole bunch of our limited lifespans for both gamers playing this and artists making this. Except artists got paid for it. To drive the narrative forward, the viewers must feel movement in the characters they are observing, and to do so, the characters must evolve, transform, be it for the better or worse. If you're writing a scene, a good rule of thumb to keep at the back of your head is that a scene should never end the way it starts. If the characters say that they're coming back home, they should end up anywhere else as far away from home as possible. If the characters proclaim that they're going to get married tonight, they should end up in the fiercest of lovers' quarrels, conflict of interest, or adultery, which cancels the wedding. By setting up the expected outcome of the scene and then creatively subverting that expectation, you create tension, which gives the scene energy and thus maintains a firm grip on the player's attention. If the scene ends exactly the way it started, then the story failed to get an upper hand on the viewer, as their expectation was validated and no intrigue is created. This has nowhere near the same impact as subverting the viewer's expectation and leaving them wondering what could happen next. Furthermore, the viewer will have no reason to feel anything for the characters if they remain in the same exact state in which they started. A character will feel hollow and uninteresting, and thus you will have to rely on cheap thrills to get some sort of a reaction out of the players. Think getting hit in the nuts with a crowbar just to get a reaction. Sure, there might be some sort of a reaction, but is it a meaningful one? If a scene is in the project, it must serve a purpose. So how could we improve this scene now? Well, we can start by establishing that the scene's purpose is to provide some useful information as well as illustrate the dire situation and the weight of the terror that the village has found itself in. This, albeit poorly executed, seems to be the intentions of the writers. So, for starters, we can employ the rule: the scene should not end exactly as it begins. And no, having characters start alive and then end up dead is not a meaningful transformation, considering that events that led up to this point, with the death of the old man in the hut earlier, Lana's father being mortally wounded, and the general carnage in the hovels, you enter the house fully expecting death to come soon after. So a simple barebone transformation from life to death is not a strong or dramatically meaningful one. Instead, we can take a look at the characters making up the scene, starting with the group of villagers as a whole. The beginning of the scene sets up the group of survivors to be distrustful of the player and fully devout to the local deity of Mother Miranda. So, to improve the dramatic weight of the encounter and help the narrative to steadily stride forward, the scene should end with the group abandoning their faith in Mother Miranda and putting their faith into Ethan instead. A fantastic place to work in that transformation is the prayer scene. Have the prayer be rendered pointless by subjecting the characters to more suffering, making them witness just how futile their faith is. Right in the midst of their prayer, have a horde of rabid enemies scurry on top and around the building, loudly knocking over a bunch of pots, pans, and tools outside. Shadows dancing in the few rays peering through the window blinds, frightening the characters inside. Make one of them jump on the roof and have a bunch of snow fall into the fireplace, putting out the fire. Hell, make the invalid succumb to the stress and injuries and drop dead in front of everybody. He has no lines in the game anyways, he's pretty much just a set piece, so at least you'll give the guy a purpose. That being the straw that finally broke the camel's back. The one who pushed the group over the edge and made them change their view, abandoning their faith in Mother Miranda, seeing how that's been bringing nothing but misfortune, and putting their faith into Ethan. With that said, Whilst in the house, why hasn't Ethan mentioned that he's searching for his daughter? Having the characters in the house gone through the transformation into better human beings, this would have been a prime opportunity to have Ethan mention his mission, and as a reward for his help to Lana and her father, be told that a baby has been heard crying not too long before his arrival, thus rekindling the hope of reclaiming his daughter. Lana can insist on how Ethan's bravery got her and her father safe inside, giving him credibility. They can all note how he's managed to survive outside on his own, perhaps even remarking his survival skills, having witnessed his battles against the savages through the windows. Make sure this scene doesn't end the same way it starts. Make the group see, transform, and become better. Make them put their complete faith into Ethan, and then kill them all. Losing a bunch of hateful, unwavering religious fanatics does not carry the same weight as losing a bunch of people who took the effort to change their faith under the stress of the circumstance, and put their faith into the player's hands. Of course, Ethan, being who he is, would have to say yes, and assure everybody that he'll get everyone out alive, and only then make the father transform and kill everybody. To further elaborate on the transformation, we can address the individual character micro-arcs. When Ethan, Lana, and her father enter the gates of Louisa's homestead, Lana proclaims that her father does not trust the outsiders. Well, make sure the scene does not end the way it starts. By the end of the scene, Alana's father should realize that in his condition, he can do little to nothing to protect his daughter, and thus he has to take the leap of faith by putting her fate into Ethan's hands, on the grounds of Ethan's proving himself resourceful enough to get them inside the house. Ilana's father would transform from a hateful, outsider-hating skeptic into a soft and content old man at a death's door. Not only that, his death in the attic scene could have been used to reveal in his character a true, substantial ray of nobility if in his last moment he were made to momentarily overcome his mutation, relay Lana his final goodbyes, and throw himself down in the flaming abyss to prevent doing any more harm to her. Anton, the hysterical man looking for salvation at the bottom of a bottle, resents everybody in the room. He could have been made to learn to trust Ethan, but that particular transformation is to be expected of the whole group. We need something more nuanced, specific to his character. Greed is a good property to assign to Anton in his moment of despair, hoarding the ammunition and provisions, not willing to share with anyone, while struggling to hold up his supplies in plain sight. When the group is frightened during their prayer, Anton should go through his evolution as a character. He can be made to realize that there just might be a glimmer of hope if he makes all the right decisions. That in his drunk state, he's only going to waste rounds shooting at shadows. In light of an overwhelming situation, Anton can find strength to overcome his greed and rethink that the resources would be better allocated to Ethan on account of witnessing his marksmanship on his way here. Thus, Anton can reclaim some humanity and ultimately die a respectable death, perhaps not becoming a saint, but surely transforming nonetheless. It is a death the viewer is much more sympathetic to than seeing a greedy asshole get what a greedy asshole, unsurprisingly, is expected to get from a horror story like this. Louisa, the hostess of the house, is also a character who had a lot of potential to give this scene weight and value. She's depicted as a highly religious type, devout to the deity of the village. As of right now, Louisa accepts Ethan into her home without question. Louisa should be the prime candidate to be most uncertain of Ethan, seeing how her faith lies completely in Mother Miranda. Of course, during the prayer, her faith should be shaken the most, and she should go through a tremendous crisis of belief, grow hysterical in light of all the evidence that her religion has abandoned her, and find strength to renounce her faith in the false deity and instead put her faith into Ethan. This act should be enhanced by having her world fall apart in front of her. So what is her world then? Well, she is a classic housewife, a true homekeeper of a sizable hut. She's devoutly religious, and thus the religion would also impose onto her a set of values, such as the sanctity of marriage, a wife's faithfulness to her husband, and the effort to keep the peace and love in her home. All of these values would have built her for a mighty, memorable, dramatic turn. If her core values and beliefs, her entire worldview, were to be shattered by her now revealed to be selfish, egoistic husband, showing his true colors in the time of despair, grabbing whatever immediate goods he could in a blink of an eye and making a run for it on his own right in front of her, leaving Louisa and her now shattered worldview and values in the dusk of her now cold and devoid of love home. This is where Louise should have abandoned her faith in the false deity of Mother Miranda and put her faith into Ethan. Finally, there's Lana. She starts as a frail, frightened, and timid girl, barely holding hysteria at bay. At the end of the scene, Lana should have grown some balls, so to speak. Her transformation would have been that of maturity, learning to stand on her own. In fact, we somewhat did get a hint of that when she saves Ethan by shooting her now turned father. However, this moment could have been pushed a bit further, with her having a more exaggerated, physically manifesting crisis. Perhaps a hysterical breakdown at the very moment she had to choose between her father, the only immediate relative she has left in the world, and Ethan, the man who, in spite of the lurking dangers outside, selflessly got her and her father into safety of Louisa's house. Considering the scene's timing constraint, her relationship with her father could have been effectively communicated and strengthened via her actions of extreme care and delicacy whilst tending to her old injured father's needs during the table conversation. Not to mention that by the end of the scene, Lana would have been far better off being saved by Ethan, since this would have allowed Ethan to, in part, fulfill his promise to her father, and in turn, the players would have been given a sense of accomplishment and pride. By managing to save Lana, perhaps by leading her to a nearby village outskirt to ensure her escape, Ethan could have not only regained the confidence and self-respect for fulfilling a promise to the old man, but also, as an even greater reward, received new information from Lana about where he can most likely find his daughter, the castle. Generally speaking, a scene must serve a purpose. If there's no empathy for the characters, then their loss is nothing but a mundane filler for time, a lazy info dump. If new information is needed, introduce it in a compelling manner that's interesting to follow. Introduce whatever information you want via a conflict, because people like conflicts and drama. And while their attention is on the conflict, you can dump as much info as your creative heart desires. This video is a small sample of a series of analytical discussions and observations between my father and I, as we explore the peaks and valleys of the film and game industry's most prominent releases, for the purpose of identifying most common trends of good and bad storytelling. This analysis is used in the development of a comprehensive tool bag of writers' tools we call Siren, a web-based workbench project that serves to provide effective tools for focusing a writer's thought process towards creating deep, detailed, adequately thought out, and meaningful stories. This is done with the help of analysis of decades worth of award-winning cinematography wisdom. With my father's background in film and mine in games, we explore the many renowned releases in both industries in order to make the story writing tools equally useful in creating stories for film and games alike. If you are interested in writing deep and meaningful stories, regardless if it's film, video games, or more, click the link in the description or the pinned comment and sign up to our mailing list. You will get notified when the tool becomes open to the public, as well as get notifications of any creative writing training videos. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more film and video game analysis videos.